Hey everyone, my name is Hannah. Welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to be filming my beginning of the year book haul, or my first book haul of the year, whatever you want to call it. Mostly these books I just got in January and February. So it's very often said that buying books and reading books are two very different hobbies. They are linked, but sometimes you buy books and then it takes you a while to read them. But I really try my hardest to read all of the books that I acquire within a month or two. So most of these books I have already read, so I'm pretty proud of that fact. And I should say before I start, I'm going to try not to give a summary of these books, because that's what I'll do in my wrap-ups of what they're about and my overall thoughts of them. So I'm just going to tell you the book and tell you where I got it from, and yeah, that's about it. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into all of the books that I bought or was gifted or otherwise somehow acquired in the beginning of 2021. So first up, I have my January Book of the Month books. I have the book pick from the 5 that I chose, and then I had an add-on for January. So the monthly book pick that I chose was The Survivors by Jane Harper. This one was just the one that sounded the most interesting to me. It's like a mystery book kind of, so out of the 5, this was the one that sounded the most intriguing to me. And then I also added on The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins, which I think was the December book pick, but I got this because Gabby from Gabby Reads is doing a thriller horror mystery book club called the Book Troop, and this was the first book pick and I was interested in reading it, so obviously I picked it up from Book of the Month because I got the hardcover for $10. But yeah, I read it and then watched the live show for the Book Troop, which was great. The next book that I got was Across the Green Grass Fields by Seanan Mcguire. This is the sixth installment in the Wayward children's series. This could be a standalone, so this could be a book that you pick up to kind of introduce yourself to the series. But mostly all of the other books kind of need to be read in order, even though they follow different characters. Basically, the Wayward Children's series is about a portal fantasy world where these children find doorways to other worlds, and this one specifically follows Reagan, who goes to a horse world where there's centaurs and kelpies and stuff like that. Yeah, this is one of my favorite series of all time, and so every year in January a new book comes out, and so obviously I was hyped to pick it up. So I got that one, and the cover is super pretty. Then a few of my coworkers decided we wanted to pick up Hood Feminism by Mickey Kendall and kind of buddy read it together. But it was just a few of us, and we had a text group where we were sending our thoughts as we read it, because we had a lot. I mean, I tapped the crap out of this book and highlighted so many things. It's just so well written. But yeah, then we had a little Zoom with just the 3 of us. There were only 3 of us that read it. But yeah, I picked this up because I started the audiobook and I was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna want to have a physical copy of that I can annotate in. So I had to buy the physical copy. The next book I picked up was The Deal of a Lifetime by Frederick Bachman. This is just a short little novella, and it has some illustrations and stuff in it, which is kind of cool. But I really want to read all of Frederick Bachman's books. I've read 4 so far, 5 including this one, and I just really like his writing style, so I want to eventually read all of his books. And I saw this at Goodwill for $2, and so I picked it up, and it was really short, so I read it in a single day. All right, all of these next books that I'm going to talk about, there's a story behind it. So for Christmas, my in-laws got my husband a guitar, and he really wants to learn guitar. They got him an acoustic guitar, and his high school friend Andy, who has been his best friend forever, he was in our wedding and everything, but he lives pretty far away, so we never get to see him usually. But typically around the holidays we do get to see him, but he just didn't come home this past year. And so we were FaceTiming him, and he was telling Brandon because Andy plays guitar too, if I didn't say. He was oh, I need to get you these cool strings. I'm going to send you some picks, and some, little things that you'll need for your acoustic guitar, as a Christmas gift. And Brandon was like, oh, okay, that'd be cool. And he was like, okay, so I need to get Hannah something too, because it's not fair to only get Brandon something. And so he's like, okay, Hannah's gonna just send me her Amazon wish list because I know it's full of books, which of course it is. And he's like, I'll get you a book or something. And I was like, okay, you don't have to do that. But he was like, no, you're gonna send it to me. And then he came back on and was like, okay, I bought you a book, but I'm not going to tell you which one because I want it to be a surprise. So don't buy any books from your Amazon wish list. And I was like, okay, I won't. And then the packages came and he got me every book on my wish list. I think there was like 11 on my wish list at the time. He bought all of them. So these are the books that he bought. I'm still like, I can't even believe that he did this. He's so sneaky, but I'm very grateful for it. It's just a very easy path to my heart is through books. So the fact that he did this just kind of makes me want to cry. So anyways, let's get into the books that I got gifted from our friend Andy. The first one is a book that I have already read, and I think about it often enough that I wanted to have a physical copy, and that is The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levinseller. I also really like this cover, but I think about this book often enough that I might want to reread it, and I didn't have a physical copy, so I added this to my wish list just thinking like, oh, eventually I might get it. The next book was Blood and Honey by Shelby Maherin. This is book 2 in the Serpent and Dove series now. I guess it's a trilogy. And I had read Serpent and Dove in 2019, I want to say. And so I was pretty excited for this book when it came out, and of course I added it to my wish list. The next book was The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. And first of all, this book is absolutely gorgeous. It does have deckled edges, which I don't like at all, but on this book, I think it looks really cool, and I just think this is a really pretty book. So next up is How the King of Elfame Learned to Hate Stories by Holly Black. This is a little short story collection following Cardan from the Cruel Prince series. Some of the stories are from like before he meets Jude, who is the main character in that series, and some of them are after, and it's just kind of a little bit more backstory from Cardan. And it has some really, really cool illustrations. This book in itself is really pretty. Like the end papers are gorgeous. And yeah, there's just a lot of like cool illustrations and stuff. So I'm really glad that I got this. The next book that Andy got me was Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. This is a standalone fantasy, which intrigued me. And it follows like this apprentice librarian, which also intrigued me. And I had read Margaret Rogerson's first book, The Enchantment of Ravens, and I didn't like it that much, but this book I definitely liked way better. But I was very intrigued because I heard people liked this more than Enchantment of Ravens, so I wanted to give it a shot, and I'm really glad that I did. Next up is Rapsodic by Laura Thalassa. Basically, I saw this on my Goodreads that was like in the recommended for you section, and it said, like, some of the reviews of this said that this reminded them so much of A Court of Mist and Fury, and that's my favorite book of all time, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna want to read that. Then Andy also got me Harleen by Stepan Sajic, I think is how you pronounce it. I really don't know. But this is a graphic novel of Harley Quinn's origin story, and I am a massive Harley Quinn fan, so I was really excited when this came out, but I just hadn't had the chance to pick it up yet, and it's just like really, really pretty. Like, oh man, I just love it. Then I also got Vicious and Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. I have already read these, I just didn't own a physical copy of it. I think I originally had Vicious, but in the original cover paperback. And I think I unhauled it with the intention of getting them in like the matching covers. And then I just never picked them up. And so I had them added to my wish list. But yeah, I really like how these look together. I think they're very aesthetically pleasing. And then he also got me A Deal with the Elf King by Elise Kova. This is another standalone fantasy romance, and I was very much in the mood for fantasy romances after reading From Blood and Ash. Yeah, so I added this one because I heard this was a really good fantasy romance. Which, speaking of, if you have any fantasy romance recommendations, I would love to hear them because that's what I'm in the mood for right now. And then the last book that Andy got me was Shipt by Angie Hochman. This is a adult romance that I've heard is like a mashup between The Hating Game by Sally Thorne and The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, and those are two of my favorite adult romances of all time. And so I was very interested to read this one, so I'm still excited to pick it up. I haven't read it yet, but as soon as I'm in the mood for just a contemporary adult romance, this will be the first thing I pick up. The next book that I picked up was Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I got the nice hardcover edition from Barnes & Noble. But yeah, as soon as I finished From Blood and Ash, I immediately needed to know what happened because it ended on a cliffhanger. And this book was fantastic. It's not a wrap up, so I'm not going to go into it, but this is book 2 in the From Blood and Ash series, and I am highly anticipating the final book to come out, which isn't coming out in April. But yeah, I just think this cover is really pretty, and yeah, as soon as I finished From Blood and Ash, I was like, oh my god, I need that in my possession right now. Then we'll go into my February book of the month pick. I didn't do any add-ons this month, but I did pick Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. I've just heard really good things about it, and it was the one that sounded the most interesting to me. I'm very intrigued to read it. And it's really short. It's like 290 pages or something like that, and the font is pretty big. So it should be a very quick read, but I also really love the color. I love the colors. The cover? Did I say color? I love the cover. I like the colors. So that was my February book of the month book pick. I also watched Bridgerton this month, and so I wanted to pick up the first book in the series. It even has the little like Netflix sticker on it or whatever. And normally I don't like mass market paperbacks, but something about these, like, I don't know, this type of romance book, I wanted to have this in a mass market paperback. Like, I could have ordered like just a normal paperback, but I didn't want to. I wanted the mass market paperback, and that's not something I say very often. But yeah, I did pick this one up. And then obviously my most anticipated release of 2021 was released in February, so I had to pick up A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, and it has like extra content. I am currently reading this right now, but I'm hoping to finish it soon. By the time this video goes up, this reading vlog should already be up on my channel, so if you have read it and you want to watch a spoilery reading vlog of it, that'll already be up, so I can leave that linked up above. But yeah, I got all of the exclusive editions. So I have the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. I have the Books A Million exclusive edition. It just hasn't arrived yet, but that has extra content as well. That's different from this extra content. And then I bought a ticket to Sarah J. Maas's virtual tour, which comes with a special exclusive tour edition of this book, and so that should be arriving as well. But those two haven't arrived yet, but they should be soon. But by the time I'm filming this, they haven't arrived yet. If they arrive before I post this, I'll insert a clip here of what they look like. But I have 3 copies coming of this book because I'm absolute Sarah J. Maas trash. And then I also wanted to share that I bought 2 new book sleeves from Etsy. So this one just has like a little crescent moon on it, and it's padded. It's really nice. It's a little smaller than I was expecting. It fits like a normal hardcover, but like this book is too thick to fit in it. Like, I can really squeeze it in there if I try, but I'm scared that I'll damage it if I try to squeeze it in there. But it fits a standard one. And then also this like pretty blue floral book sleeve. So yeah, that is my book haul for the beginning of 2021. I'm just really excited about all of the books that I got. I love them all, and I'm so happy to have them on my shelf. And I'm very grateful to Andy for gifting me a ton of these. It's just so sweet. I can't believe he did that. It's incredible. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, you can let me know by liking and subscribing down below, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!